Hey y'all, CB here at NBS Welding, still working on the old Shyster, and I wanted to get some video and get with the subscribers again. Starting out, I noticed on the last video where I was showing y'all the Shyster, I got a lot of really similar comments. So there was a whole bunch of dudes thinking kind of the same thing. So I thought I'd bring that up. Because hell, those are just the guys that commented. There's probably a whole bunch of people that wondered and didn't even take the time to comment. I appreciate the comment. That helps with the algorithm. But one of the really common ones was about the fuel tank on the Shyster. You know, I got this gas can rigged up. This is all made out of stuff that I had here that was free. And a bunch of people said, oh, we're waiting on the video of the gas tank you're going to build for it. I'm not going to build a gas tank for it. And I guess I felt like so many people commented about that I should probably explain my view on custom builds of stuff like that. I value my time at the same price no matter who it's for. I don't care if it's for me. If I was to build a custom gas tank of any sort whatsoever, I mean, it's going to take a while. Even if it just takes a couple hours. Even if I could build it in 2 hours. And you know, if I got started on it, I'd have more time in it than that. But even if I could build it in 2 hours, I mean, to me, that's $150 worth of my time. I can buy a gas tank for 80 bucks. I can buy a 5-gallon plastic gas tank that would never rust, and it's already got the fittings on it to connect it to a gas line. Like a 5-gallon boat tank or whatever. I could buy one of those on Amazon, free shipping for 80 bucks. And this is something that I run into a lot because people ask me about building stuff that I wouldn't build. The most common one I get is smokers. You know, there's a million people that the minute they find out that you weld, they say, do you build smokers? I ain't building no smoker. That's the kind of stuff, like if you got a special idea for a smoker and you do welding and fabrication at home as a hobby, that's a great project. But me, I'm doing this for a living. If I wanted a smoker, I'd go buy one. There's a million different choices and they're all dirt cheap. And the thing that I don't think a lot of people understand about that is when you build one of something as opposed to developing a design and then making sure that design works and then building thousands of them and then marketing them and then selling them, it's a totally different thing. A one-of-a-kind thing as opposed to something that's commercially available. Something that's commercially available is the way to go. If you're going to custom build something, it's either because it doesn't exist and you got to have it, or you want to do it as a project, you know. But, or if it's a situation where somebody's got money and they just want you to build it. But it's like, to put it in terms of regular construction, you know, the difference between custom fabricating something out of metal and buying something is like, if you were going to remodel your kitchen, you should go somewhere like Lowe's or some supplier and buy kitchen cabinets. You can buy cabinets 9-inch, 18-inch, 24-inch, 36-inch, 30-inch. And you screw them up on the wall and you're done. And there's a factory that does nothing all day long but build kitchen cabinets. They buy so much of exactly the same material that they buy the material for pennies on the dollar. They have processes where, you know, it goes down the line like you're not custom designing anything there. Now, if you'd compare that to calling a cabinet maker and saying, hey buddy, I want you to go to the lumber yard and buy raw boards and hinges and hardware and come to my kitchen and custom measure my kitchen and cut all the boards. Finish sand them down till they're baby's butt smooth. And stain them by hand. And then assemble them in my kitchen with a custom fit. You know, the difference, you're talking about pennies on the dollar. It's a totally different world. So I can totally understand where you guys are thinking, oh, CB's a welder fabricator. He's going to build a gas tank. But I'm not. I would not put the time into building a custom gas tank for something like this. You can buy them too cheap. It's a bad idea. So there's that. And then the other thing that was a really common comment was where I was talking about I had to adapt the air filter on this Shyster. A bunch of guys were saying, oh, you can just go to the parts store or hot rod shop or whatever and get a filter that'll fit that carburetor easy. And I know that's true. But I want to show you the air filter system that came on the Shyster. And this is a situation where I probably am going to custom make a part, and I probably do think it's completely worth it. So let me show you. This was fitting on the propane carburetor. Obviously, it's not even close to going on this gas carburetor. But this is where the carburetor got its air. When I set that down there, it's hitting the electric choke. It's too low. It needs to really be about up there. But if you follow that line back to here, look at this air box that's got the filter. This is a big, industrial, extremely effective air filter system. And then the air, where it comes from before it goes into the filter, actually goes through the overhead protection. So the air that this engine would breathe is coming from all the way up there, where there's no heat from the engine and no dust from the gravel. And this is a drastically superior way to provide air, clean air, to the engine. And then on top of that, I'm gonna pull this apart and let me show you the filter. Look at this filter. This is what you'd find on like a large diesel engine. A filter like this, the way I would run this forklift, years. I mean, it would provide clean air to this engine for years. And air is important. Clean air is every bit as important to an engine as clean oil. You get grit going in that carburetor, you'll eat that motor up. So this is a situation where if I can make something that adapts a filter, this filter system's worth a lot of money. This would be far superior to going to a parts store and buying one of the filters that I can slap right on top of that carburetor that would be, you know, just a few feet off the ground where there's more dust, and up under the hood where there's hot air and all of that. If we can avoid that, we want to avoid that. So let me show you what I found. I was goofing around in my aluminum pile. I wouldn't be able to buy this. I would probably have to buy at least a 12-foot stick of it if I was looking for a piece of it. But there was a piece out there, and look at this. Like, I'm literally pressing that down on there. It fits so beautifully. So that's a good start. We'll see what I come up with here, because it's going to start out with that aluminum pipe going right on the carburetor, and I'm going to figure out how to adapt that. And I'm probably going to make it like a sleeve of that aluminum and then a plate. I got to find something threaded. I think that's probably a 1/4-20 thread that goes down in the center of the carburetor. But let me find some parts and we'll put something together here for this. First thing I'm going to do for this adapter, I want the threaded shaft coming out of the carburetor, and I found these two, some sort of bolt from furniture or something. I save stuff like this in my cabinet for things like this. And what you'll see here, I'll end up cutting this and welding it and whatever, but these two, I'm going to weld them together right there in the middle. And you see the way I've got them pinched right there, it's crooked. But the way I would go about welding this together is I'll tack this side, the side opposite the pliers, and then I'll straighten it, because it'll hinge on that tack. I'll be able to hinge it till it's straight, and then I'll tack the other side, and it should be pretty straight. The other thing on something like this with threads, I'll put this vice grip that I'm holding it with in the vise, and I'll put the ground clamp on the vice grip. You don't want to put your ground on your threads. It'll arc and mess up the threads. And you don't want to put the threads in the vise either. That could hurt them. So I wanted to show you what I was going to do. I'm not going to film it. I'm trying to do this without editing because I really don't have time to edit. Got that thing welded together, and you can see I got my depth where I got it screwed into the carburetor, and I put double nuts with a split washer. So that's where it stops when you screw it down in the carburetor. And then I put this nut on there, and I've been running it up and down. To get this height where I wanted it, and it's pretty much coming. I adjusted it so that the plane of the bottom of this is level, you know, with the plane of the carburetor. And what I'm seeing is, height wise, if I was going to have an adapter plate, it would need to be from where the pipe hits the carburetor right there to about the top of that nut. So before I screw with the pipe, I'll probably make a ring first. And the kind of ring that I need, I think, would have an inside diameter that matches this pipe and an outside diameter that matches this. So I'm going to see what I can put together for that. 3/16 inch aluminum plate. Oh, from that, I was able to make this. I did this with 2 hole saws. And that's going to be the plate. You can see and what I did was already, if you see that line right there, I put this thing together, put this down on here and just dropped it. And then I put the top on, and I had this nut to set my height. So when that bottomed out on the nut, I knew my height was right, and I double checked that. And then I just lifted the plate up till it was contacting the bottom of that. I didn't film doing that. It would have been hard to film because I really had to sneak in there to make that mark, but it's real tight, and I reached in there and I made that mark. So what that's going to do, that tells me when I pull this off here where I'm going to weld that plate onto that pipe. And I've been debating whether or not I'm going to weld that plate to the cast aluminum piece, and I think I'm going to. I do believe you could probably squeeze it together and get a seal probably good enough, but I'm going to have a super tight seal there on the bottom. It'd be a shame to have a leak somewhere of dirty air getting in after doing all this, and I other than the time it takes to weld that, I don't see a benefit in not welding it. And the one thing I'm not going to know till I'm done is if the welding is going to mess with the shape of that really thin aluminum pipe enough to cause a problem when I go to put it back on there. But that remains to be seen. I'm going to get the Art Captain TIG 200P hooked up, and I'm going to weld this together, and then we'll take another look at it. I ran the power brush all over the whole thing just to make it pretty. This side's a little dull gray, but here's our adapter. Adapter plate. We're ready to put this on here and see what it looks like. We're going to see how she does, man. It sounds fine. A little bit more. That'll be a different thing. Always have to have the door open, even if you're just starting it for a second there in the shop, you know, with gasoline instead of propane. But she's converted to gasoline. That's it for this deal. Thanks for watching. Remember, learn how to work with what you got. That way you always have everything you need.